Hi crafters, it's Karen, and I wanted to create a video of the shadow box that I created for Muriel. By the time she's watching this video, she already has it, so I hope she likes it. And I just wanted to share what inspired me from the Compendium of Curiosities, Volume 2 from Tim Holtz. At the very end of this particular book, he shows how he puts together his configuration boxes. Well, I couldn't find I have a little configuration box, and at the time I couldn't find it. I have a couple of places where I keep alterable items, and at any rate, I did find a shadow box type thing that I had purchased at AC Moore, so I used it. And yes, I was inspired by this particular page from the Volume 2 of the Compendium of Curiosities. So here is the shadow box, and I'm hoping Muriel likes it. That's the front. I'll show you all sides. This is kind of a rough angle to be filming something like this. This is the back, and as I said in my previous video, I was also inspired by the different techniques in which Tim Holtz uses the tissue paper. So this is new to me. I hadn't used it before this, and I really wanted to try it out. So that's the paper that I used to paper the outside of this particular box, and it just comes on so nice. I had cut it to size, and then I basically went over the shadow box with gel medium, and then I kind of wrapped the tissue paper up along the sides, and it's so much nicer than paper because it feels like it's actually a part of the wood. So very, very sweet to work with. So this is how it came out, and I hope Muriel likes it. For the inside of the little compartments, I did use I believe it's the Wildflower stack by Tim Holtz to cut out the little images for inside my compartments. But anyway, for the outside of my shadow box, as you can see, I used a couple of the Tim Holtz stencils here and here, and I used this Faro Special Effect paste. This is really fun to play with your stencils and to create texture on your projects, and it dries hard like a cement or something. It's really quite cool. So that's how I got that look. I had gone over everything with a light coated gesso before I did use this texture medium. And then I went over the edges with the texture medium and with some walnut distress ink to kind of outline it a little bit to give it more of a vintage, worn look about it. So that's the outside, and I also had colored some cheesecloth in these greenish tones, and I thought I would use them as kind of moss. And I set my flowers, and these are I Am Roses, and this is from a Martha Stewart punch, and I punched into my gold foil paper to create these gold leaves. I thought it just looked really sweet. So for the inside, yes, and oh, I'm sorry. And then for these bars here, or for the edges of all the compartments, I tissue taped that as well. It was tricky, but I just love the effect that it gives. So I didn't go all the way into the sides, but I did go on the edges so that the tissue paper would show. And then I went over it with a light coated gesso, and then distressed it with a little bit of the walnut distress ink by Tim Holtz. So for the first compartment, I'm just going to do these in the line of compartments. You can see that it's kind of a bird themed, and it just kind of worked that way. But for the first compartment, this is a Prima resin piece, this little birdhouse in here that I went over with the same gold paste, with this same texture paste. Let me see if I can't, sorry. Let me see if that doesn't help. So I went over it with that gold texture paste. Then I took a tiny, tiny little doily that I had, and I set it down and used this tiny little bird that I had received in a rack. So it looks like she's sitting in a nest right outside the birdhouse. And then for the next compartment, I took one of the gears, and I believe this is a spare parts gear, along with another little doodad flower resin piece from Hobby Lobby, and I just laid it there along with this green kind of vine trim. And on the side there you can see one of the Tim Holtz calligraphy pen nibs right there, and I did that because it does say postal up here, as if someone had written a letter. And then I added a piece of lace, the brown lace there, with a little tiny little resin piece. For the next compartment, you could see the bird in the background paper. I didn't want to cover her up, so I took one of the cameos from my stash, and I just arranged some flowers underneath it. One of them is a resin flower, and the rest are just, mulberry flowers. And they're all sitting on a piece of a doily, along with these two little dimensional eggs from Cane Company. Really sweet. And this is another resin piece that I had received in a rack. See, all of the doodads that I've received from racks and whatnot, this is how I love to use them. So this is a piece that I had received in a rack that I found in my big old doodad jar. This is one of the arrows from the Tim Holtz arrow set. It's, metal. This compartment here, these are some tiny little seed beads, and I believe I got a set of these from the dollar store. This is a real glass jar, and I just used my glossy accents to glue the cork on so it wouldn't come off. And it's sitting on one of those tiny little doilies. There's a little pink resin rose there and a domino. For the next compartment, I thought it would be cool to spell out art using the Scrabble tiles, and I went over everything with this white Martha Stewart texture medium. It's a lot like snow text. And then here I hung this trim that I had received at some point in time. I hung it here because I like the movement of the trim that dangles. I added this metallic silver heart here, and that's one of the Tim Holtz doodads or whatever. I forgot what he calls them, but it's a charm. And then this is a Prima nest, or I'm sorry, this was a Recollections nest. Recollections nest, and I adhered, this is another one of the Tim Holtz bird metal pieces, and I adhered the bird here so it looks like she's swooping into the nest. This is a tiny little spool, and I wrapped some twine around it and just put a little flower on top. The M could stand for Muriel or for Maya, or Mia. I'm sorry, Muriel, I'm drawing a blank. Mia. Muriel's daughter. Anyway, that's what the M is for. I put some texture medium on it as well. The next compartment is this, and there's a tiny little charmed bird nest inside, and there's images of birds there just on the paper. This is some Prima trim. The word laugh has been in my stash forever, and I just thought it would be fun to put it here so that she could always remember to laugh and enjoy. And the last little compartment is this. There's a pretty image of a rose in there, and I just put pieces of burlap, kind of made a nest for this tiny little bird. There's an image up there and it says Wonder, and that's a Cane Company embellishment. This is a bird cage charm that I adhered there. This is a doily that I had placed in the above compartment and let it dangle down, and this is one of the Tim Holtz gears along with a spinner, and I put some texture medium on it. I tried to make it so that the spinner would still spin, but it doesn't. So yes, that's my shadow box, my fake configuration box, if you will, for Muriel, and I hope she loves it. I had a great time creating it. Thank you so much for swapping with me, Muriel. This was a lot of fun, and I hope that you enjoy what I've sent. So thanks so much for watching, and I'm sure I'll talk to you. Oh, here for the top of the shadow box, it says "Embrace Imperfections." I loved that sentiment. It, you know, kind of made me feel like, you know, don't take yourself too seriously type thing. So that was why I put it up there, to go along with the laugh down here. Sorry, I just noticed that and realized I didn't share it. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the shadow box, Muriel. Kisses and hugs. Bye-bye now.